Hello, hi everyone. Good morning.
Good morning, sir.
Good morning, sir.
Good morning, sir.
Okay, so quickly let me start the session today. So let me share my screen. Okay, if you recall what we have covered till now is we covered the enterprise structure and we started with the master data. And in master data, we covered the material master, the business partner. And yesterday we saw the source list and the purchase info record. And we are left with the service master. So I mentioned that service master will be looking after the P2P cycle. So today we'll be starting with the new topic called the P2P cycle, which is also called as procure to pay cycle, or some call it as process to pay, or some call purchase to pay. So all are same. So P2P cycle is nothing but the procure to pay, or we can also call it as process to pay or purchase to pay. So all these refers to purchase. So what we'll be covering today is we'll be covering the front end part of the procure to pay cycle. And next week we'll be trying to cover the back end or the configuration part of the procure to pay cycle. Okay, so first let us discuss what is a purchase. So can someone tell what is a purchase?
Buying something.
Okay. Anyone?
Procurement to payment process through the procurement of material.
You want to become a highly successful investor with a wealthy portfolio. Never trust anyone who wants you to join any social media group.
Okay. So purchase is nothing but buying something based on the requirement. So if you have the requirement, only then you are going to buy something. So that is a purchase. Then when we say purchase to pay, when you have a requirement, you purchase and then you pay to what you purchase. So there are multiple steps between purchase and pay. You're going to purchase, you're going to check everything, and then only when you're satisfied, you'll be paying them. So that is called as a purchase to pay cycle when you're starting with requirement and ending with paying your amount is nothing but your procure to pay cycle. So let us start with two examples. First, let me take one example with a live scenario and then an SAP scenario. First thing, let me take a user. Okay, or let me take me. So I have a requirement. I need to buy a laptop. So I have a requirement. What is the requirement? I need a laptop. So I will raise my requirement to my parents, asking that I'm planning to buy a laptop and get their approval. So I'll go to them and ask, I need to buy a laptop and take the approval. As soon as they approve, then I will see which brand to buy or where to buy. So I'll go to market or shop or multiple shops. I'll see multiple brands, for example, Dell, HP, or Apple. I'll go to market and search for the brands, and I'll also see what are the prices of these three laptops. And based on this, I will decide one particular laptop and then start negotiating with them. After I decide and after the negotiation is completed, then what I'll do, I will ask him to place an order. So same goes if you're buying in the online also. So when you have a requirement, you go to your parents or ask the laptop that you're going to buy a laptop. Then you will search in different platforms, and then you'll decide where to buy and what to buy, and then you place an order. When you place an order, that person will confirm you that order has been placed. So next part is a confirmation. They will confirm that the order is placed, and then they will start dispatching the goods. If it is a manufacturing industry, they will start manufacturing it. As we are buying a laptop, then it is a finished product. It will be ready with them. So they'll start the dispatches. They'll dispatch it, and that will come to your home, and you're going to receive it. You're going to receive this. As soon as you receive with the laptop, you also get an invoice. Seeing the invoice, you will know what is the amount you need to pay to the person who is going to deliver you the goods, and you will pay him. So this is the cycle, right? So the cycle is starting from the requirement till the pay. When we take a normal scenario, these are the steps which happens. Now, if I speak regarding in SAP terminologies, so let me replicate the same scenario in SAP terminology. A user, an SAP user, is having a requirement. Then what he will be doing, he will be raising a requisition in the SAP. That requirement is called purchase requisition. We call in SAP terminology, it is a purchase requisition. Let me take the same item. There is a requirement of a laptop. This laptop is called as a material. And user is having a requirement, so that requirement is called as purchase requisition in SAP. He need a requirement of some material. So he is raising the request to the procurement team. Here, procurement team is the head of buying. So what we discussed in enterprise structure, we discussed that the purchase organization team is the head of purchasing. So you can call purchase organization also. Both are same. So the request will go to purchase organization or the purchasing team. This purchase requisition will go here and get it approved. In between, you will have an approver who needs to approve this. As soon as it is approved, that will go to the procurement team. And what procurement team will do, they will see if this material is already purchased or not. If it is purchased in past, they will go with the same supplier. If they have not purchased this material initially and this is the first time they're buying this material, then they will go with the process called RFQ. Here you are going to the market and searching for the brands and price. Here the person is not going to the market for searching the brands and price. He's going with a concept called RFQ in SAP terminology. So what happens in RFQ? He will see who all are the suppliers of this material. So vendor 1, vendor 2, and vendor 3. he will send his request for quotation to these three vendors. RFQ is nothing but request for quotation. Okay, he'll send this notice to all these three vendors to come back with the price. The main criteria for RFQ is the price, lead time, and the payment terms. So these are the three criteria which vendor should come back with the quotation. So based on this, vendor provides you the quotation. Vendor provides you the quotation. So your sourcing team is going to see the quotation and decide from where they need to buy. And when the supplier is confirmed and finalized, they will place, when I say they, it is purchase organization team will place the purchase order. So here you place an order. In SAP terminology, you call it as a purchase order. Okay. As soon as the purchase order is raised, and this purchase order is sent to the supplier, saying that the order is placed. So here you will go to finalize the vendor. As soon as you finalize the vendor, you're going to send or create this purchase order and send to this supplier. As soon as the purchase order is received by supplier end, he is going to check all the information like what is the price he has provided, lead time, payment terms are all correct in the purchase order, the material, and when he can deliver, he'll check everything with his team and then confirm the order. That is called as order confirmation. Okay, he's going to do the order confirmation. As soon as he do the order confirmation, he'll tell that on this date, I'm going to particularly deliver you the goods. And then he delivers the goods. Delivery happens. When the delivery happens, normally when you receive the goods or when you receive the laptop, here what you are doing, you're going to do, you are going to provide your one-time password. And then you're going to give the number to him and then collect your parcel for your verification, saying that we have received the goods. Same applies here also. When the delivery happens, you are going to process the goods receipt in your system. So goods receipt will help us to tell that the supplier has supplied the goods and we have taken the goods. So in SAP terminology, it is called as goods receipt. Okay. As soon as the goods receipt is done with the goods, he also sends the invoice copy. Parallelly, finance team is going to post this invoice in SAP system. Invoice will get posted. That is invoice receipt. And if everything is matching, so if the three-way match is happening, you always know what is three-way match. If the purchase order, goods receipt, and the invoice receipt, if these three are matching, then the payment happens. So these are the SAP terminologies which we use in the procure to pay cycle. So now let me tell what all are the SAP terminologies we used here and in the next step. Before I go there, if you have any questions here regarding the cycle of the P2P cycle.
Hi Venkatesh. This is the cycle when things go right, when the product is fine. What is the product which you purchase is not in a good condition or damaged? What will happen in such scenarios?
Okay. If the product received is not in a good condition, we have a concept called written PO. That depends on the scenario, at what stage you are. So as soon as you receive the material, if the material has been damaged, you are not going to process the goods receipt. You're going to directly send back in the same vehicle. Suppose if you have found that the goods has been issued after you receive it, then you're going to post a reverse goods receipt and send back to the supplier. If you have received the goods and after months you are finding that the issue, then you're going to place a written PU. So that depends on at what scenario are you finding the defect.
Okay, thank you so much.
Any more questions? Okay. If no questions, let me move further. So now we discussed regarding how the P2P cycle works, and we saw a lot of terminologies also. So in this terminology, let me recall the same process using the SAP terminologies with the transaction codes. So as I mentioned, the first thing what happens is the user in a certain department will have a requirement and the user will create a purchase requisition. So first terminology is the purchase requisition. Or we also call this as PR. Okay. This purchase requisition is getting created with the transaction ME51N. This is to create. Then you have ME52N to change. ME53N to display. Okay, as soon as the user creates the purchase requisition, this purchase requisition needs to be approved by someone. Because if the user is genuinely raising the order or he is placing an order for himself, that needs to be confirmed. So to make that confirmed, whenever the user is going to raise a purchase requisition, normally the buyer will raise the purchase requisition based on the requirement of the business. If that needs to move to the further step, there is an option called approval flow. So someone should approve it. So to approve the purchase requisition, we have the transaction ME54N. This is for approval. Okay. Once this is done, the purchaser or the buyer comes into picture. And after this requisition, there could be a case where the requisition is created, will have a defined supplier, or he may not have supplier. Because if the material is procured before, then you will have a defined supplier that you will be maintaining in the source list and the purchase info record. So what a procurement people will do is, as soon as they receive the purchase requisition from the requisitioner, they will check this material and they will put in the transaction of PIR and source list and see for this particular plant, do they have any specific supplier? They go to ME01, put the material, put the plant and see if there is any supplier there, then they will propose that supplier to place an order. If there is no suppliers in the source list, then they might go with the process called RFQ. So even if a supplier is coming in the system, if a supplier is there in the source list, in some cases, the buyer will not go with the suppliers which are there in the source list. That is a rare case. They still want to go with the RFQ because if they find any less price or a new price with the new suppliers, then they can go ahead with them. But that will take some time to process the RFQ. If you have the supplier ready, then you can just convert the purchase requisition into purchase order directly and move further. If you don't have, then it will take time to process the RFQ process. So next is the RFQ, which is called as request for quotation. In request for quotation also, you have multiple transaction codes to create. It is ME41. Now this RFQ will be created with the reference to the purchase requisition. Using this purchase requisition, you will be creating the RFQ. You will not create a RFQ blindly. You will take the reference of this purchase requisition and then create it. If he is going to create the RFQ for multiple vendors, then you will have multiple RFQ numbers. You need to do one by one. Okay. Once the RFQ is created, if you want to change, then it is going to happen in ME42K, sorry, ME42. If you want to display, it is ME43. Okay. Even this RFQ has an approval. This RFQ can be approved using the transaction ME45. Okay. As soon as this RFQ is approved, this RFQ will be sent to the suppliers. How many suppliers you are defining in the RFQ? So all the suppliers will receive the RFQ from their end. And you're also going to mention the deadline in the RFQ saying that before this date, you need to receive the quotations. So suppliers will fill the quotations and send you within the deadline. As soon as they send the quotations through email, normally it is going to happen in the email. They're not going to send the system to system. They're going to send through email. So you need to take the quotations from email and manually enter that in the SAP system. So to enter that details in SAP system, you have a transaction ME47. This is to maintain the quotation. So you have multiple suppliers. Multiple suppliers are going to send multiple quotations. And you're going to maintain each quotation in this ME47 transaction for each supplier. Now all the details are in your system. Now you need to compare. To compare the quotations which are sent by multiple suppliers, we use a transaction ME49 to compare. Compare and decide the quotation. So once the RFQ is finalized, once the vendor is finalized, what business will do is, or what buyer will do is, the buyer will convert the purchase requisition into purchase order with reference to the quotation. So to convert that, there are some transactions for creating the purchase order also. That is ME21 end to create. ME22 end to change. ME23 end to display. And you also have an approval flow to send this purchase order to the supplier. That is ME29 end is for approval. Sorry. ME29 is for approval. Once the approval flow is done, once the purchase order is approved by his manager or the line manager, the purchase order will be sent, a soft copy will be sent to the supplier, and seeing that soft copy, he will be confirming it and sending it back. Okay, so as soon as the purchase order is sent, and we will do the goods receipt. When supplier is ready to deliver the goods, he will deliver to us, and we will do the goods receipt. To do the goods receipt, we use the transaction MIGO, in which the stock of the material and the quantity of the material will be increased. In goods receipt, what happens? There are two things happening. The stock of the material will get increased because we are receiving the material, so stock will get increased. Parallelly, the finance department is going to post the invoice receipt. That is going to happen in the transaction Myro. This is done by finance. These all are done by procurement. Finance is going to post the invoice, and that is going to happen all as an invoice receipt. And payment will be happening based on the three-way match. If you have the GR-based invoice verification enabled, then that is going to happen through the three-way match. Okay, so these are the transaction codes to create one P2P cycle. Normally, it starts with purchase requisition and ends with the payment. So the last step is payment. I don't know the transaction, but this is done by the finance team. So whenever the requisition is raised, till the payment happens, these are the steps and these are the transaction codes you will be using going further to complete one P2P cycle. Okay. Any questions here? Any questions? Okay. Apart from this standard purchase to pay cycle, we also have some outline agreements. So what are these outline agreements? So outline agreement is nothing but you are not placing an order to the supplier on requirement basis. So you are telling that supplier that I will have a continuous flow or continuous requirement of this material. And you need to send me the goods. So based on this agreement and mutual understanding, the supplier is going to send the goods to the buyer. So this outline agreement or the contracts are going to get decided based on the supplier relationship. If supplier is sending you the good products on time with the same price, where he is not fluctuating the prices, only in that case you will build a supplier relationship and you will place an agreement. So in outline agreement, you have two types of outline agreement. One is a contract. One is a schedule agreement. These terminologies are very, very important. One is contract and the other one is schedule agreement. Now, contracts and schedule agreements are long-term contracts. It is going to be long-term. Even the schedule agreement is going to be long-term. So you're going to keep a long-term relationship with your supplier so that the business and supplier will receive the goods and have the business for the long time. Okay. Now, whenever I say we have two types of outline agreement, why do we have two types of outline agreement? Why SAP has decided to have two types of outline agreements? So first, let us discuss regarding this contracts and then move to the schedule agreement. So in contracts, what happens? You are dealing with the supplier saying that I will have an agreement with you stating that from this period to this period, for example, let me take from today is 16 till 16/6/25, 1 year. From this period to this period, I am telling the supplier, I will purchase this many quantity from you. Or I will purchase with the value of 1 lakh. In contract also, you have two types of contract. In contract, you have two types of contract. One is the quantity contract. In contract, we have two types of contract. One is the quantity contract, one is the value contract. Why do we have two types of contract is the business might have a requirement based on the quantity. If they want to purchase the material based on the quantity, then they can place a quantity contract. If they want to place or if they want to get the material based on the value, whenever the value is getting fluctuating, they can manipulate their quantities there. In that case, they go with the value contract. If I just take an example, I said that if I place a quantity contract, I'll place for 1,000 pieces of material M1. Assume that this material is just 100 rupees. When you're placing a quantity contract, you're placing it for 1,000 pieces. Per piece price is 100. For each and every 3 months, the price gets fluctuated or price gets changed in the market, and he keeps on changing it. Okay. Normally, if the price is getting fluctuated, you should and must buy this 1,000 pieces. Sometimes, if the price is going with 500 rupees, then too you need to buy 1,000 pieces for sure. If you are in a value contract, you are placing a value contract for 1 lakh. When the material M1 is of 100 rupees, you get 1,000 pieces. When it is 100, if it is 500, you will get less quantity. You need to just cover, you need to complete the value. So that depends on the business if they want to go with the value contract or quantity contract. They will check if the value is getting fluctuated, what might be the fluctuation and how it works. They're going to discuss everything. So this is a sourcing team job. They will check, apparent and end user is going to check this everything, and then they're going to decide it. So contract is of two types, quantity contract and value contract. The contract is created from this period to this period, from and to period. They are going to mention this or specify what quantity they want to procure or at what value they want to procure. And after seeing all this, the quantity is created. The contract is created. Once the contract is created, the user, whenever he has a requirement, he will convert this purchase requisition into purchase order using contract. For example, you have a requirement. You have a requirement from business. They're saying that you need just 100 pieces. Today, you need 100 pieces. After 2 days, you need 50 pieces. After 1 week, you need 150 pieces. So what you will do, for each and every requirement, you will create the purchase order using the contract till the quantity gets completed. So this is how the contract works. Okay. So whenever we say a schedule agreement, now let's move to schedule agreement. Whenever we move to schedule agreement is also same as a contract. You will have from 1 to, you will have quantity. You have only quantity, no value here, only quantity. You will create an agreement with supplier saying that from this period to this period, I need so many quantities from you. But the only change compared to the contract and schedule agreement is, in contract, whenever you have a requirement, you are going to place a purchase order manually. For each and every requirement, you're going to raise a purchase order. But in schedule agreement, you are not going to raise an order based on the requirement. You are going to tell, or you are going to fix the quantity to the supplier saying that in June month, I need 100 pieces. In July, I need 200 pieces. In August, for example, in August, I will have a summer break. So I just need 20 pieces. In September, I need again 100 pieces. In October, I need 200 pieces. So in this way, you will define the quantity for each and every month and keep it. This is the planned quantity, or you can call it as schedule lines. You will define the schedule lines and send this schedule lines also to the supplier. So you don't want to place a purchase order every month. The supplier can send the goods without your knowledge also. If you know the future forecasting or future planning, then you can go with the schedule agreement. If you don't have the future planning of your material, then you can go with the contract. So whenever you raise a contract, based on the requirement, you raise the purchase order and get the goods because you don't know what is the requirement which comes from business or which comes from the manufacturing industry. So you can go with the contract. You don't know what is the requirement. So you'll see based on the purchase requisition you receive, you will send the goods or you will place the purchase orders and get the goods. If you know the future planning, you can go with the schedule agreement and maintain the schedule lines and get the particular quantity every month without your premises. If you are not there also, the supplier will deliver you the goods. Okay, so these are the outline agreements and these are the advantages of having the contract and a schedule agreement. And we also understood the difference between the contract and schedule agreement. If I go with the transaction codes of outline agreement, let me define this transaction codes also. For contract, it is ME 31K to create. ME 32K to change. Maybe 33K to display. Maybe 35K to approve. Okay. Then you have the schedule agreement. Maybe 31L to create. Maybe 32L to change. Maybe 33L to display. Maybe 35L to release. Okay. And in schedule agreement, you also have one more transaction, which is ME38 to maintain schedule lines. Because here you have an additional step where you need to define the quantities. Okay. Any questions here in the outline agreement?
All these are all end user activities, right?
Yes, all these are end user activities.
Can you please once again explain value contract, sir?
Sorry?
Can you please once again explain value contract?
Value contract. So here you have a quantity contract. When I say quantity contract, your contract get expired when you are buying 1,000 pieces. For example, you have a quantity contract of 1,000 pieces. You will place the POs based on the quantity. So you place 50 pieces, you place 100 pieces, like this, till it reaches 1,000 pieces. This is the quantity contract. When I go to value contract, you also place with the quantity here, you place with 50 pieces, but that will get multiplied by the price. One day the material is 100 rupees. When you're placing 100 pieces, the material price is 150 rupees. So here what happens? It becomes 5,000. It becomes 15,000. Okay. Now I'm buying 500 pieces for 200. Then it becomes 1 lakh. That will take 400. 80,000. Now you have placed a purchase order for 80,000, 15,000, and 5,000. Here what happens? It became 1 lakh. When the price is covered with 1 lakh, then this value contract will expire. Here you have not purchased all 1,000 pieces. You just brought 400, 150. So total is 550 pieces. You purchased only 550 pieces. As your value got consumed, the contract get expired. Take the same example, you purchased 550 pieces here in the quantity contract. You can still purchase 450 pieces. In quantity contract, they are not bothered about the price. You just need to complete your quantity. In value contract, they are bothered about the price. When the total value of your purchase order reaches 1 lakh, the contract gets closed. And there is no condition that you should buy 1,000 pieces. They will check the value there. In quantity contract, they will check the quantity here.
Okay, yeah, thank you. And in schedule agreement, you have given like monthly quantities, so it can be
Yes.
yearly also, right? Estimates
It can be?
yearly, annually.
No, it is always monthly.
Okay.
Any more questions?
Won't the price vary in scheduled contracts, scheduling agreements?
Yeah, that is fine. You're just focusing on the quantity here, not the price.
Okay.
Hello, sir.
Yes.
Sir, in general, like quantity contract they will follow or value contract, sir? In general.
That depends on the business case. So if they get more profit in the quantity, they go with the quantity contract. And if they don't focus on the quantity and if they're only focused on the value, then they will go with the value contract. Both has same priority.
Okay, sir. Thank you, sir.
Yep. Any more questions? Okay. If you don't have questions, I'll go further. So as we discussed in Material Master Business Partner, we had different material types. We had different vendor account groups. So based on different material types and different vendor account groups, we used to differentiate the materials and the suppliers. And we also had some standard material types, the standard vendor account groups. In the same way, we also had the PP grouping. So if we come to this procure to pay, we also have some standard document types for all these documents. What we saw now, for example, purchase requisition, purchase order, goods receipt, invoice receipt. So all these has their own document types, which are standard. So you need to know those standards. So if business wants to create a different or more multiple types of document types for each and every documents, a consultant will create these by copying those. So you need to know the standard document types for those so that a consultant can use those and create the custom document types. So when we start with PR, so when I start with purchase requisition, for purchase requisition, the standard document type is NB. So if business wants to create different or more multiple document types for purchase requisition, then they can go ahead and copy this standard NB and create their document types for the requisition. Okay. Then if I go to RFQ, for RFQ, the document type, the standard document type is AN. You need to remember this for future reference. Okay. For purchase order, it is again NB. Okay. For goods receipt, it is WE. For invoice, it is RE. For schedule agreement, it is LP. For contract, we have two types of contract. One is quantity contract. For quantity contract, it is MK. And for value contract, it is WK. Okay. So what we are seeing today is the front-end class. So today, for all these topics, we will covering the requisitions. So we will try to create those requisitions in system and see, and what are the important information, what in the purchase requisition, purchase order, RFQ, goods receipt. We will see till the goods receipt. Okay. And outline agreement and contract, we'll try to cover today if we have time. If not, we'll cover it in the next class. Okay. Before I go to system and create these documents, any questions? In the meanwhile, I'll log into system. Any questions? Okay. If no questions, then I'll start with the first document, which is a purchase requisition. So let me create it. So ME51N is a transaction to create the purchase requisition. So you can take the transaction codes from the recording where I have mentioned all the transaction codes in each and every sheet for each and every document. Okay. And let me explain the screen of this purchase requisition. Here you will have the document overview on. So this will help you to fetch the previous purchase requisitions. Here you will have this selection variant. If you click on this, you will be able to see if you want to open the quotation, if you want to open the schedule agreement, if you want to open the purchase order, purchase requisition, your purchase requisition, or everyone's purchase requisition. That will help. You can fetch from here. If you want to copy the purchase requisition, you can click on this copy. So that will get copied. So that is this document overview on. Then this icon is to create. If you are into another transaction, and if you want to create, you can create it. Then you have this other purchase requisition. Once again. Okay, this icon is an other purchase requisition. So if you want to open any other purchase requisition which is already created, if you remember the number, you can click on this, put the number, and click on other document. The other purchase requisition will get opened. Then you have this check option. For example, you are entering all the information, and if you want to check if there is any error or not, if you click on this check, system will see and tell you if there is any error or not. Then you have this information. This will help you to understand what is purchase requisition, what are the informations you have in this screen, everything it will show. Then you have this personal settings. In this personal settings, the user can select what are, how he want to see the screen. He want to see, for example, here you have plant code, which is M213. So if I remove the display key and apply, you will not be able to see the plant code. You will be able to see the plant name. So that is his personal settings. This varies from user to user. Okay, and you have the default values here. Default values are nothing but if one user is always placing a purchase requisition for plant, only a single plant, then you can maintain that here. A person is always creating a standard purchase requisition, then he can use this and save. So that whenever the user is coming here, he don't want to select the document type, he don't want to select the plant, it will automatically have the values in it. That is the personal settings. Then here you have the document type. So as I said, the NB is the standard document type for the PR. This is your purchase requisition number. This is your source determination. If you're using the source list or the PIR, you should and must check box this. If you don't check box this, you will not have the suppliers coming in the source of supply. It's blank. Okay. Then you have the description. If you want any description, you can enter the description here. Then coming to the sections. In purchase requisition or the purchase order in any document, you will have three sections of the screen. First is the header. Second is the item overview. Third is the item detail. Header is the information which is having the complete information of the PR. For example, if you have 2 to 3 materials in this PR, and if you want to communicate supplier a single information for combination of 3 materials, then you can maintain the value in the header. And for example, you want to communicate different things for different material, then you can use the item detail. So header is nothing but it is top of all the materials. Item is nothing but it is individual for individual item. Okay, if you have any questions, make a note of these questions. I'll answer those later on. So header is nothing but it is the information what you're providing in the header is a combination of all the materials in the PR. Item detail are nothing but the information of the material which are there in the PR, but you are giving the information individually. Okay. Then if I come to item overview, here you will have the item information. What is the serial number? What is the material? What type of procurement are you doing? What is the description of the material? What quantity are you buying? When you need this material? What are the material groups? Then for which plant are you buying it? For which store location? I'll just refresh it. Who is the purchase group? As I mentioned, the purchase group is a person. Then you have the requisitioner. For example, if I am raising an order, but I'm not raising an order for myself, if I'm raising for an order for some other person. Okay. In that case, you are going to mention the requisitioner ID here or his SAP ID. Then you have the tracking number. If you want to track this order in the reporting wise, only in the reporting wise, then you can use this tracking number. Then if you have a fixed vendor, you will get the vendor details here, from here to here. All are the source list and the PIR information. Then if you have any agreement, and if you want to use an agreement to create a purchase order, you can just give the agreement as a reference here. And you have the info record, the purchase info record, which we discussed yesterday, that is going to appear here. So this is the item information. If I go to item detail, so all your item details also will be, item information also will be in item details. There are multiple tabs in your item details. If I go to material data, so this material data will give the information of your material. What is the material number? What is the description? What material group it belongs to? This all information is coming from your material master. Okay. Then you have this second tab, which is quantity and dates. What quantity are you buying? When are you requesting? what is the delivery date. Okay, then you have the valuation. Valuation is something with the price. One second. Okay, so you have the valuation tab here. So you can see the price coming here. So this price is coming from your material master. So here you can see 1000. I go into the material from here, and if I go to the accounting view, in accounting view, the price is 1000. So in the purchase requisition, whenever you are raising a purchase requisition, the price will always get flowed from your material master. So here's very important. In purchase requisition, the price will come from material master. In purchase order, the price is going to come from the purchase info record. Okay, that is the valuation you have here. Then you have the account assignment. This account assignment is nothing but how, on what basis are you going to procure this? As of now, I'm keeping this aside. Okay, then you have the source of supply. This source of supply is going to help to say that do you have a fixed vendor or do you have an info record? That information will flow here. Then you have the status. At what status is this purchase requisition is? It is converted to PO or it is cancelled or it is based on this PR we created RFQ. So what is the stage? What is the status? And you have the contact person who has created it. Okay. Then you have the text. And then you have the address where this should get delivered. Okay. So these all are the information what you can see in the purchase requisition. So now let me create a purchase requisition. I enable this source determination. I'm using the standard document type. If you want to tell anything in the header for all the items, so you can enter the value here. For example, I want to enter testing. Okay, so I'm putting the material here. So I'll take the material which was used yesterday. So this will give you all the information. I'll put a quantity of 100 pieces. I'm going to procure for this plant. Okay, and for this storage location. Okay, enter. So I entered all the information and I get a source of supply here. In source of supply, I'm getting two vendors because for two vendors also there is a source list created and the PIR created. I'm going to take this supplier. Okay, I'm going to check all the price here. It is fine for me. And I'm going to select this and also I can check what is the evaluation of this vendor if there is any issues with this vendor. So checking all this, so I'll select. Okay, so this is how I create a purchase requisition. I'm saving it. This is my purchase requisition number. So now if I want to change anything, I can go to this change indicator and change anything if I require anything here. Okay. And if I want to save it again, I'll save it. And if I want to display, I'm already in display mode. So you don't want to use all the transactions. You can play with this change button, display button. And for create, you can use this icon. If you're comfortable with transactions, then use transactions. If you're comfortable using these options, you can use this. So now this is my purchase requisition. So using this purchase requisition, I'll create a purchase order. To create a purchase order, I'm using a transaction ME21N. So if I go to ME21N, the screen looks similar to the purchase requisition, but here you will have more information. Here also you have the document type. Here also you have the create option, other purchase order, check, and here you have some additional things called messages and the print preview. So one thing to clarify here, the purchase requisition is an internal document. Apart from purchase requisition, all the orders like purchase order, request for quotation, contract, schedule agreements, all are the external documents. You are going to send this document to the external system with help of some messages. So if you're creating a purchase order, you need to send to the supplier. How are we sending this? So there is an output getting triggered. Based on the output, you're sending it. Okay, that output is generated from this messages. Okay, 1 second. Sorry. So based on this, you can click on this print preview and see your purchase order. And based on these messages, there is a different configuration for these messages to get this sent. So that is a different class. So we have a class called output determination where we can configure these messages. Now in the head, the first thing that we discuss here, you have supplier. So you're telling system that from which supplier are you going to buy the material? And you have the document date. On what date are you going to place the PO? Then here also you have 3 sections. Header, item overview, and the item. Here also you have header. One second. sorry. Now you have the header information here. In the header, compared to the purchase requisition, in purchase order, you have a lot of information. So first thing, you have the delivery and invoice, the payment terms. In this section, you are going to decide what are the payment terms. So when are we going to pay the vendor? Is it 30 days? Is it 45 days? Is it 60 days? So we are going to decide here. So we don't want to enter this everything manually from here. The information, if you fill this information in the vendor master, or if you are filling this information in the PIR, then this information will directly flow into your purchase order. Then you have the currency exchange here. If you're doing an import purchase, if you're purchasing from other country, so finance department is going to maintain the currency converter in their config. Based on that, the currency value will flow from that part and it will get converted to the INR here using this currency exchange. Then you have the conditions. Here you will have all the prices. So what is the price of material? What is the discount? What is the tax? What is the delivery cost? You will have everything here. Then you have the text here. So this text is similar as the purchase requisition. If you are maintaining the text here, then it is applicable for all the materials. Below also you will have a text. If you are maintaining the text there, then it is applicable only for individual material. Then you have the address here. This address is nothing but your address, the plant address. Or no, sorry. This address is a supplier address. Let me enter the supplier here. You will be able to see the supplier address coming here. You can see the supplier address is coming. This is a supplier name and this is a supplier address. So in the header, you will have supplier address. In the item, you will have the plant address for the delivery. Okay. You need to, how to tell you, you need to explore. You need to explore all the options you have here in this purchase order and check. Then you have the communication. This is just for the communication. If you have any salesperson who you have from the supplier side, you can use this salesperson telephone that will flow from your PIR. So this information also will come from PIR if you have maintained this salesperson. So yesterday we saw an option called salesperson. Then you have the partner. This partner function we discussed in the business partner. So if this vendor is having different partners, that will get appeared here. If supplier is delivering the goods from somewhere, and if he is going to send the invoice from some other address, then those will flow here. Then you have the additional data here. Is not important. Then you have the organization structure. To which purchase organization is raising this order, which company code is raising it, which person is raising it. What is the status? How much is ordered, how much is delivered, how much is still to be invoiced, all those things. Then you have the payment process. If you want to do the down payment, you can select it from here. You want to do a down payment. If not, you can leave it aside. Then you have the Incoterms. When you're purchasing the import purchase, you have multiple Incoterms which are standard. You don't have option to create the Incoterms. So these are the Incoterms. So these are the Incoterm version, sorry. Let me take the Incoterms. These are the Incoterms. Are you going to get the goods from supplier? That is X works. Is supplier going to deliver you the goods? FCA. Is supplier is going to bear the cost of insurance and freight? Then CIF. So these are the logistics terminologies and they will look into it. So this information, if you maintain this in the vendor master, that will flow here. Okay. So these are the important information which you are going to see in the purchase order. And now if you go to item overview, you will have same information like what is a material, short description, quantity, delivery address, at what price you're buying it, what material group it is, for which plant are you buying, which store location are you buying, all those things. Now, we created one purchase requisition how can we convert that purchase requisition into purchase order? So here, if I come to the right side, you have an option called purchase requisition. Put the requisition number here. If you have multiple items in the purchase requisition, you need to keep on entering the item numbers. If not, you can directly click on enter. So all the information will flow from your purchase requisition to the purchase order. Okay. Below also you have the same information what you have above in the header, but this information is applicable for the single item. If you have multiple lines, you can select from second line from here and then check. So here also you have the material data, quantity and weight, schedule lines. This all we saw in the PR. You have the conditions here. We also saw the conditions above in the header, but header it is total. In item it is individual for individual item. The delivery text. This text is for item text for each individual item. Delivery address. This delivery address is a plant address. This is a plant address. Here you have the confirmations. If vendor is sending the order confirmation, you will be entering it here. Okay. And then you have the Incoterms again here. Normally the Incoterms are maintained in the header level, not in the item level. So these are the important fields, important tabs in your purchase requisition and the purchase order. So now I'm going to save this. I'll remove the confirmation because I don't want the confirmation to be there. I'm going to save this. If I save, I am getting my purchase order number. This is my purchase order number. Assume that this purchase order is sent to supplier. I'll open this. If I go to messages, you will see the output getting triggered here. This is an output. So when you see this output getting triggered, now it is status is failed. If it is sent to supplier, you will be seeing it in a green color. You can see the error here. Why the error is? Error is in SAP, there is no Adobe version installed. That is the issue. Because of this issue, you will not be able to see the purchase order copy also. You'll get the same error here. The same error. Okay. So once the purchase order is sent to supplier, supplier will manufacture the goods and send you back. As soon as he sends you back, you need to place or you need to do a goods receipt. To do the goods receipt, we use the transaction Migo. In the Migo, I put the purchase order. I remove this plant. Someone has fixed their values. Enter. So that information will come here. In this goods receipt, you will be able to see what is the document date. When are you posting the goods receipt? From which supplier are you receiving the goods? And the complete information of your material. So if I go with first tab, this gives the information of your material. This gives the information of your quantity. This gives the information of your movement type. So movement type we'll discuss in the inventory management. At what level are you going to receive the stock? Are you going to block it? Are you going to do the quality inspection? Or you're going to directly use it? Into which plant are you inverting it? Which store location are you going to invert it? Using which purchase order? From which vendor? So checking all this, if every information is okay for you, check on this item okay. Check if purchase order or purchase information is okay. Then post it. Okay. While you do this action, you might get this error. Let me explain. Sorry, I think I got disconnected. Can someone tell me where my internet got disconnected? Hello.
Hi Venkatesh, you were showing that Nego transaction now.
Okay. Did you see the error?
Yes, error we saw.
Okay. So this is the error. Can you see my screen now?
Yes, it's
Okay.
visible now.
This is the error. So this error is the posting error. You guys will get this error every month. Normally, this is a finance error, but this activity is done by both finance and MM. There are posting period. So finance, if there are some finance people here, they might understand easily. Or if there are other persons, let me tell you. Every month, what finance does is finance will close the older book and open the new book, saying that in this month, this is the revenue we have generated. So what they do, they close the books. And when they close the books, the revenue is recorded only for the last month. The inward, outward placing of information, everything will get closed at the month end. When you're entering the new month, they will open the new books and start recording the values there. That is just to compare what is the revenue we have built last month and what is the revenue we are building this month. Okay, so to do this, there is an option called posting period. So if I explain a posting period a bit, a posting period is not going to happen every month as the calendar. That is going to happen through the financial calendar. So what is financial calendar? Financial calendar is nothing but a financial year. So for us, January is the first month. Then you have February. Then you have March. Then you have April, May, June, July. For us, this is the first month. January is the first month and December is the last month. But for financial year, April is the first month. April is the first month for them. So April is the first month, May is the second month, June is the third month, July is fourth month, and now December is ninth month. January is the 10th month, February is 11th month, and March is 12th month. So this is how the financial calendar looks. So SAP also follows the financial calendar like this. That depends on country to country. In USA, they follow the same. January is the first month for them. But in India, they follow this financial year. FY here, we call it as FY, financial year. So whenever you are in, for example, you're in June month now. So what is June? June is 3. So you should be in the third month. So how can we check that? To check that, we have a transaction called MMRV. So let me go to the transaction, which is MMRV. Put your company code. See what is the current period. Current period. You are in 2024, that is fine, but you are in second month. As per the financial year, if I'm in second month, I'm still in May. I should be in third month. So I should convert for third month. Okay. Some might see, if I put another company code, some might, for example, some might are in still 2023, 6. So what is the current period now? You should be in the June. So it is third month of 2024. You should be in third month of 2024. So for example, this company code is in 6th month of 2023. Now you need to convert this to the current period. So period can be converted individually. So for that, you have a transaction called MMPV. This activity needs to be done by MM consultant or MM end user every month. So MMPV. Okay, I'll put /o MMPV. I'll put the company code. And I cannot directly go 03 2024 and execute. I'll get an error, incorrect period, because I'm in the older year. So what I should do, I should shift one by one. So now I'm in 06 2023. First, I should go to the 07 month. 07 2023. Execute. And you'll get a warning, click on enter. It got converted. If I just go and refresh this, I'm in 6 2023. Now I'm at 7. The same way, again, I go here, go back, put 08, execute, warning, enter. It got converted to 8. If I go and check here, you are in 8. Like this, you need to shift every month, month-wise month, and then you need to come to this period, 3 2024. So now I'll quickly do it. 9, execute. 10, execute. 11, 12. Okay, now I finished all the months. Now I need to start from 1 again, but I need to change the year. Execute. Second month of 2024. Third month of 2024. Okay, it is done. Now if I go and refresh it, go back and check, I'm in the correct period. Okay, I did it for 1995, but I'm using 1994. So let me do for that also. Okay, I'm executing this. It is done. So my company code is also got shifted. So if I click enter, whenever you see this error, posting period error, you need to resolve it like this. And this is an entry of account determination. If you get this error, let me know. I'll resolve this as of now because we have a log topic for that. If you get any error regarding the account determination, let me know. I'll resolve that and give it to you. This is a finance activity. We should not do it, but as we don't have any finance consultant, I'm doing it here. Okay, so if I check now, and if I post, again, I have an error. Let me resolve that part also. I'll post. As soon as you post, a material document will get generated. If you want to display, you can click on this display and see and execute. You will see the document here. So this material, we did a goods receipt of 100 pieces saying that I have received the 100 pieces. So now if you want to see the stock, take this material, go to the transaction, MMBE. MMBE is a transaction. To see the stock, put the material and execute. So you will see 100 quantity received just now. 100 quantity received in this plant. Okay. So if I go to PO and refresh, in PO, a new tab will get generated, which is purchase order history. Here you will be able to see the goods receipt. So this is the activity what we need to do to create a PO and complete the cycle. Okay. Any questions still here?
So that the purchase history tab gets created only after GR.
Yes, only after the goods receipt.
So in case of reverse GR, it will not be created, is it?
No. In case of reverse GR, if you do a reverse GR, it will create a new line here with the minus quantity.
Okay. Venkatesh, suppose now the GR is done, the IR is done, and even the payment is done. Is there any one transaction which will help us to see the entire activity?
If the GR is done, invoice is done, and payment is done, then you need to get the credit note first from the vendor, post the credit note, reverse the payment, reverse the invoice which is posted, and then reverse the goods receipt. It should happen as same as how you've done. You placed a PO, you did a goods receipt, you posted an invoice, you did the payment. So there is a flow. If you want to reverse, then reverse the payment, use a credit note, reverse the invoice, reverse the goods receipt.
I'm asking, is there any one transaction which will help us to see the entire activity on what days it has happened?
What do you mean now?
See, now the PO is created, the entire PRTPO has gone fine. There is no nothing reverse, nothing has happened. Now I want to check the end-to-end status of that material in P2P cycle. Is there any one transaction which will help us to get it?
Yeah, there is one transaction which is MEATFN. So here you can put a purchase order. And select the line. And here you can see the purchase order history. So this will show the purchase order number with the material. When was the goods receipt done? Or what quantity? And what is the GR document? You can see the GR document number here. All those things. And if there is invoice, then it will also show the invoice value for you.
Thank you so much. This is what I was asking. Thank
Yeah.
you.
Any more questions? As we are out of time, I don't think so we can cover the contract and schedule agreement. So in P2P cycle, we are left with the front end part of contract and schedule agreement. I'll try to cover that when I'm explaining the back end part of P2P cycle. I'll also cover the contract and schedule agreement front end there. Okay. Any more questions?
So the next session will be on next Saturday, is it?
Yes, next Saturday.
Okay. Venkatesh, meanwhile, in case if I get any doubts on how do
Yeah,
I
you can call
contact?
me. You can call me or you can message me.
Okay, I have one doubt in Material Master. Can I ask now?
Yeah.
In the Material Master, there are a lot of that codes will be provided for raw material, semi-finished ROHLB, right? Suppose if I have a product that will not fit in any of these category, is there any provision that a consultant can create a new code, or should we fit the products in these categories only?
Maximum, you need to try to fit that in your category.
Okay.
If it is not, then you will have a flexibility to create a miscellaneous material type.
Okay. Suppose if I'm creating a new material type, how do I find that code? I mean, who will guide me to create that particular code, or is it our own choice?
No one will guide you. The information only will come from business. Based on information coming from business, you are going to decide it should be created or not. And then you will propose this to business.
Okay.
Okay. If you guys don't have any question, then we'll meet next weekend to discuss on the back end of P2P cycle with the contract and schedule agreement.
Thank you so much.
Thanks. Thank you.
Thank you, everyone.